It's time to check your money with America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, what's going on?
Well, George, it's another week.
Okay? Yes, it is.
We are now almost at the end of May. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
Okay, because 6 months really flew by. I was talking to someone the other day, and I told them while we were in shutdown and while we were during the height of the pandemic, it felt like every day was a week. I mean, it was so slow.
Right.
And now it's the same 24 hours, I do believe. But it feels like it's in hyperdrive. And
yes,
here
it
we
is.
are 6 months into the year. So I was having a conversation a couple of days ago. I was having a conversation with my CEO in my best office, which is where I do my hair, and having a conversation with the chairman of the board because I was really concerned about maybe the messages that we have been providing for our audience weren't impactful enough for the life that we have before us and the things that we're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
So while in prayer, I did determine that maybe I should step back for a second and look at some of the impact that we need to make sure that everyone is receiving as we are having these conversations every week.
Okay.
Okay. And guess what? One of the things that I hear and you've heard and has been a constant conversation is how do we build generational wealth?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. Okay, it's not going to take very long. Looking at a client situation, wonderful family that has over the years, from one generation to the next, built a very nice intergenerational wealth pattern. And that intergenerational wealth pattern has now put not only their parents, but themselves and their children, I can see it very, very clearly in working with them, into what I would call the multi-million-dollar numbers that we all aspire to. And it's not only about the numbers, but since we're talking about wealth creation, we do have to sometimes stop and look at what we're talking about as far as capital is concerned. And I thought about how they got there. And there were three very important things that happened. The first one being a commitment to making sure that from one generation to the next, there was something to pass on.
Yeah.
Whether that be in a history, because that's also very important. Okay, and I'm going to talk about history and how history leads to financial well-being.
Yeah, I hear legacy, and when you say history, I hear that.
Right. Okay, history, legacy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Also, in relation to hard assets, and those hard assets being both financial and real estate. Okay, meaning hard assets. And the third one being a fact of understanding that those two components have to be built over time. But there are some things that can jumpstart that. And that's where I want to focus today. How do you jumpstart the financial asset structure within a family to create long-term legacy? And there's a subject that I haven't dealt with much, I would say, in retrospect, not enough. And the not enough is this: we have not talked about enough the importance of life insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to spend a lot of time over the next 2 or 3 weeks talking about the importance of life insurance. And there are going to be some people going, Vicki, that's old school, and it's the investment market, et cetera, that's important. Listen, I talk about the investment market all the time. So you know that investment management is one of the things that is foundational to Brackens Financial Solutions Network. But here's what you are missing when we don't implement and talk about life insurance. There is this same family, and talking to them, he made a comment. He said, you know, everybody's going to die. And you know, I've talked to my parents, and I talked to my kids, and we understand everybody's going to die. And there is a financial process that can be of benefit and should be of benefit to the next generation if they are properly insured. And they used insurance to do that jump starting process very early on, and they continue to use life insurance to do so. I have a colleague who for years, who was with in New York Life, in fact, okay, and he ran a campaign which was $50 billion of permanent life insurance within the African-American community. They wanted to see that happen and build that legacy, because when you have proper life insurance, you are guaranteeing, when it's utilized properly, structured properly, and put into a permanent category, you are guaranteeing a financial windfall, a financial uplift to a family that you cannot put into place in any other form, because nothing is guaranteed in any other form. What we do with your investment models, we get you projections, we understand the possibilities, we look at the probabilities. But if something happens, particularly prematurely, and you started out and you had an investment account, that investment account is only going to have $20,000 in it, whereas that same premium on your life insurance would probably create $2 to $3 to $4 million of life insurance. We need to start talking about life insurance more, and not just talking about it, but implementing it, because this is the way that we uplift and create that first rung for wealth creation, for the capital that's needed for businesses, for the things that are needed for our education. Life insurance is a tool. It is a tool that we must start implementing and utilizing on a much greater basis. So George, yes. When I had my conversation with the chairman of the board, he said, Vicki, you have missed an impact statement. So we're going to work on this. We're going to work on this over the next couple, 3 weeks. So for everyone, go ahead and you know, send in your comments about, you know, this is old school. I don't care about old school. What I care about is impact. What I care about is efficient, effective ways for us to build wealth, and build wealth on a permanent basis.
Well, you tell the CEO, not tell the CEO, but the fact is there are some segments that we have talked about this as a way to do it. So I'm really happy that we're going to be back on this topic, because it's a reminder. You know, people think it's all fancy and all that, and you're saying, here's one simple way you can insure,
Okay,
because
so
if you can
one
insure.
simple way, that's correct. And so here's the challenge, George. Zero, no more. Okay. Everybody, I can't think of many people who are listening to this broadcast or going to watch it on YouTube that are not already millionaires. And you can think of it, well, already millionaires. Your income, I want you to take time out. If you're 20, 30 years old, you know, in your early 30s, early starting of your career, your income times your working years will absolutely guaranteed work out to be millions. How much you were retaining was always the question. One way to guarantee the retention of that income is through life insurance. So what I want to challenge everyone to do is that you should have, if you are 25 years old, 35, 45 years old, in the early portions of what's that called, the millennials, you should not have any less than $1 million of life insurance in place right now. Mm-hmm. You want to change a community, you want to change the wealth spectrum, you want to change and uplift your community, $1 million minimum is the number that you should shoot for, and it's easy to obtain. So George, this point in time, I'm looking forward to the next couple, 3 weeks. We're going to talk about the different types of insurance. We'll talk about the different ways it should be structured, the things that you can do, the amazing things that you can do with buyouts and so forth concerning your insurance. So I'll say at this point in time, though, our plate is full. If you have questions, feel free to give me a call at 315-930-4499 or reach out to us at info@brackensfsn.com. Follow us on Facebook, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And I'll say at this point in time, our plate is full, and I'll see you next week.
All right, Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. She is America's money maven.